Silent Hill 2 Remake brings a fresh and thrilling take on a classic, diving deep into the heart of survival horror with a modern twist. This remake isn't just about revamping visuals. It's about creating that same sense of dread and immersion that made the original such an unforgettable experience. The over-the-shoulder camera shifts the combat experience, giving you that intense up-close feeling when you're facing off against the twisted horrors lurking in the fog. The gameplay has been fine-tuned to keep things fresh, with a more dynamic combat system that lets you take on the enemies with an improved arsenal of weapons. Whether you prefer blasting through foes with a firearm or getting up close with melee weapons, there's a real satisfaction in every encounter. The new camera angles make things more intense, adding a layer of tension when you're exploring tight corridors or encountering something unexpectedly horrifying. The environments feel alive and chilling. With each corner you turn, there's this lingering sense of what's around the next one. It's that perfect balance between exploration and panic. You'll want to search every nook and cranny, uncovering hidden secrets, items, and more. This isn't a linear experience. It's a game that lets you really get immersed in its world. What makes it even better is how the game's choices matter. Depending on your actions, you'll experience different outcomes, encouraging you to replay the game and see what else you can uncover. Warhammer 40k Space Marine 2 is one of those games that just feels like a power trip from start to finish. You play as a beefed-up Space Marine, and the whole experience is all about making sure the enemies in your path know who's boss. If you're looking to unleash some serious carnage, this one has you covered with an arsenal that'll make your inner warrior feel right at home. First off, combat is such a smooth mix of shooting and slicing your way through bad guys. You've got a whole arsenal of guns that'll make you feel like an action hero. Think bolters, plasma guns, and of course, the chainsword. There's nothing more satisfying than mowing down hordes of enemies with a big old chainsword, followed by an explosive shot from your bolter. The game doesn't just make you feel powerful, it wants you to feel powerful, and that's a huge win in itself. The flow between ranged and melee combat is seamless, which means you can totally play your way, depending on the situation or just how you're feeling at the time. Fancy chopping up some alien scum? Go for it. Feel like sniping from a distance? That works too. It's all about finding your style. The multiplayer side of things gives a lot of variety too. You've got your co-op modes where you and your friends can team up to take on tougher missions, or if you're more into the competitive side of things, there's a solid 6v6 mode that has some really fun team-based gameplay. You'll be trying to outsmart and outshoot your opponents, which adds a bit of that let's do this again feeling after every round. Kena Bridge of Spirits is a game that really knows how to pull you into its world. You're in for a journey that mixes the joy of exploration with the thrill of combat, all while solving puzzles that'll keep you engaged. The adventure is filled with charm, with Kena, the main character, acting as your guide through a world that feels alive and full of surprises. The game's core is all about getting your hands dirty, whether it's battling enemies, uncovering secrets, or navigating through environments that constantly challenge you. The combat is satisfying, nothing too complex, but it doesn't need to be. With a staff in hand that evolves into a bow, you get the perfect balance between hacking your way through enemies and figuring out how to use your abilities to solve the environment's puzzles. One thing that really stands out is the rot. These little creatures are absolutely adorable, but they also serve a practical purpose. They help you in combat, clear obstacles, and even unlock new areas. There's just something about collecting these little guys and watching them evolve that keeps you invested in the game. Plus, the customization aspect adds a fun layer to the experience. What's really cool about the game is how it encourages you to slow down and pay attention to everything around you. The world is filled with secrets, hidden items, and challenges that reward careful exploration. Evil West. This one kicks off with such a punch of energy, it doesn't waste time getting to the good stuff. You're thrown right into the action, armed with a badass gauntlet and a whole arsenal of ways to wreck supernatural creatures. Evil West is all about that fast-paced, heavy-hitting combat that just feels chunky and satisfying in the best way. What really stands out is how the game mixes old-school design with modern flair. You've got a linear path to follow. None of that open-world fluff here, but Within that, the fights are tight, explosive, and super punchy. The game wants you to get in close, punch, blast, dodge, repeat. It's built for momentum, and once you get into a rhythm, it's hard to stop. And those enemies? Big, ugly, and relentless. There's a whole bestiary of monsters that feel pulled straight out of dark folklore, but cranked up to 11. The game doesn't just throw cannon fodder at you, it throws challenges that make you learn patterns and use everything in your toolkit. You've got melee combos, electric bursts, long-range shots, and brutal finishers that never get old. The environments play into the mood perfectly. It's dusty towns, twisted forests, old mines, classic Wild West vibes, but with a supernatural twist. Each area feels handcrafted to host big brawls and cool set pieces, and the level pacing keeps things moving without ever dragging. No Man's Sky. This is one of those games that just keeps on surprising you even when you think you've seen it all. It's like stepping into a giant sci-fi sandbox where the rules are simple: explore, build, survive, repeat, but with your own twist. The galaxy is massive, like you'll never run out of planets kind of massive, and every time you land somewhere new, it feels like you're stepping into a fresh little pocket of the universe just waiting to be explored. One of the coolest things is how the whole vibe changes depending on what you want to do. You could spend hours harvesting materials and upgrading gear, get deep into trading routes, or just fly around charting planets and naming strange creatures. And then, out of nowhere, you'll find yourself building a slick little outpost in the middle of some radioactive wasteland or underwater alien jungle. It just keeps shifting, always pushing you towards something new. The freedom is where it really shines. You can go full-on space pirate, become a peaceful wanderer, or settle down and build a massive base with your friends. The co-op aspect adds a ton of flavor too, letting you share the fun with others, mess around, or even work on projects together. There's no rush either. The pacing is whatever you want it to be, whether you're the kind who wants to fly into black holes or just relax mining on a quiet moon, it's all good. What makes it even better is how much it's grown. Outlast 2. From the very beginning, the tension is cranked all the way up and it just never drops. Outlast 2 is one of those games that doesn't give you room to breathe, and somehow that's exactly what makes it so addicting. You're always on edge, always running, hiding, peeking through the dark, wondering what's around the next corner. And the game absolutely thrives on that feeling. What's wild is how it constantly shifts the ground under your feet. Just when you think you've figured out how things work, it throws you somewhere new with a totally different threat, and you have to scramble to get your bearings all over again. It keeps you in this state of constant unease that somehow becomes the new normal. And weirdly enough, it kind of works. You start getting good at surviving the chaos. The camera is still your lifeline, and using night vision feels like both a blessing and a curse. You need it to see, but it also makes everything more intense. Those narrow beams of light cutting through pitch black spaces never feel safe. And the battery management, that stuff makes every little decision count. Do you risk exploring a side path for supplies or play it safe and move on? It's a small mechanic, but it adds so much pressure in the best way. And then there's the pacing. It's constantly shifting between full-blown panic and slow, creeping dread. 1 minute you're sprinting for your life, and the next you're sneaking through a cornfield praying you don't get spotted. Monster Hunter World kicks things off with an exciting premise. You're hunting massive creatures, each more fearsome than the last, all while exploring an incredibly detailed world. It's not just about slashing away with your weapon. There's strategy, preparation, and a bit of patience involved. You've got to get the right gear, pick the right weapon, and make sure you understand the behavior of the creatures you're going after. Gameplay-wise, it's got a real sense of flow. You'll spend your time crafting, gathering materials, and scouting out the perfect spot to take down your target. But it's not just all about the hunt. There's a lot of exploration that goes into it too. From dense forests to desert landscapes, each area has its own feel and is filled with its own unique challenges. The combat is a highlight here, with each weapon feeling unique, offering a whole range of playstyles. Whether you're going in for fast, nimble attacks or prefer the heftier, slower hits, there's a weapon that fits your style. You're constantly adjusting, learning new tricks, and adapting to what the monsters throw your way. One of the coolest features of this game is how it encourages teamwork. You're not just hunting solo. You've got a team of hunters working alongside you, and that coordination can make or break a mission. If you're feeling extra bold, you can even go it alone, though you'll definitely find it more challenging. The world itself is full of life and surprises. Nightingale drops players into a world that's equal parts enchanting and dangerous, where magic and survival collide in the most intriguing way. This game takes you on a wild ride through procedurally generated realms, each one bringing something fresh and unique. Think of it like an endless adventure where every time you step through a portal, you're met with something different, from mysterious creatures to treacherous environments. And the best part? You can team up with friends and take on these challenges together, turning every mission into a collaborative quest. Now, the core of the experience here is survival. You'll be gathering resources, crafting your tools, and building your own little base in these strange lands. The crafting system isn't the kind that you'll breeze through in an hour, though. It's detailed, giving you tons of options to work with, and you'll be spending time figuring out what you need to survive, whether that's weapons for defense or shelter from the elements. Building your base is all about finding the right spot and protecting your turf, but also adding your personal touch to make it feel like home. One of the coolest aspects is the combat. This isn't your typical hack and slash setup. Instead, you've got a mix of melee combat, ranged weapons, and even magic to throw into the mix. Each fight brings something new with different enemies that will keep you on your toes, and the challenges can ramp up quickly as you progress through these varied realms. The cooperative multiplayer really brings everything together. Uncharted: The Lost Legacy. This time, we get to team up with Chloe Fraser, a fan-favorite treasure hunter, as she's joined by Nadine Ross, a mercenary from Uncharted 4. What's cool about this duo is how their dynamic grows throughout the game, making every moment feel personal and compelling. Right from the start, the game does an excellent job of blending action and exploration. You'll be jumping, climbing, and swinging through environments that are both breathtaking and filled with surprises. Whether you're sneaking past enemies, solving puzzles, or just soaking in the scenery, there's always something happening. And let's be honest, finding those hidden gems and taking on the challenges feels incredibly rewarding. Combat in this game is tight, smooth, and offers a lot of ways to approach situations. You can go in guns blazing, but it's also super satisfying to sneak around, avoiding detection and using stealth. The addition of silenced weapons adds a cool strategic layer, especially when you're trying to outsmart the enemy rather than outgun them. It really lets you choose your playstyle, whether you're all about action or more about being the sneaky hero. Now, the environments themselves are like playgrounds for these two characters. There's this great balance of open spaces where you can really explore and take your time, and then there are these narrow, tense spots that make your heart race. It's a mix that keeps things fresh, so you're never stuck in one mode for too long. Far Cry 5 takes you straight into the heart of a sprawling open world. And let's be honest, it's the perfect place to get lost in. The whole vibe is about chaos, freedom, and just doing things your way. You'll find yourself in Hope County, Montana, where you get to go wild in a world that's ripe for exploration, filled with opportunities for combat, adventure, and a fair share of mayhem. One of the most exciting parts is the freedom. You can jump into whatever action you want, whenever you want. No strict order of missions, no linear paths, just a massive world to explore and conquer. From driving around in muscle cars to soaring through the skies and plains, everything feels like it's in your hands. And you're never really alone in this journey. You've got your own little squad of guns for hire, these NPCs who join you for the ride, adding an extra layer of fun to the game. Whether it's a sniper or a heavy hitter, having these allies around helps you take down foes and explore the world with a little backup. Speaking of backup, there's this awesome animal companion system. Forget just being human in this world. You can recruit animals like Boomer, a loyal dog, or even Cheeseburger the bear. They're not just cute sidekicks either. They're tough, and they help in combat. It's like your own personal zoo that gets the job done. Who wouldn't want a bear charging into battle, right? The gameplay itself keeps things fresh. Titanfall 2 is a game that grabs you right from the start, and it doesn't let go. It's all about that rush of movement and the joy of just flowing through a world with such fluidity. You're not just running around, you're wall running, double jumping, and zipping across the landscape with so much style, you'll feel like a parkour master. The way it makes you move is unlike anything else in most shooters, where speed, precision, and agility come together in the best way possible. The game does an awesome job of combining being on foot with piloting these massive, powerful titans. You're not just stuck on the ground or only in these mechs, you get to do both. You'll be tearing it up in these giant robots, unleashing huge power, but then hopping out, scaling walls, and making the most out of your pilot's crazy mobility. It's that perfect blend of big, intense battles and quick, nimble action that keeps things feeling fresh. And let's not forget about the multiplayer. It's stacked with awesome modes and features that let you feel like you're always improving. It's fast-paced, competitive, and gives you plenty of ways to stand out with your own strategies. Whether you're a fan of working in close quarters or you prefer sniping from a distance, there's always something that fits your style. Plus, the Titans are a game changer in multiplayer too, adding that extra layer of chaos that makes each match feel unique. The campaign is where things really stand out though. It's more than just a string of missions. It's a ride. Ghost Recon Wildlands drops you right into a vast open world that's ready for you to explore. And I mean explore. This game takes place in Bolivia, where you'll be tackling missions across jungles, mountains, deserts, and cities, all in an attempt to take down the Santa Blanca cartel. The map is huge, and there's just so much to see and do. You can drive, fly, and even swim your way around, making each mission feel a bit like a mini adventure of its own. The gameplay is all about tactics, but in a way that lets you get creative with how you approach situations. You can go in guns blazing, or you can take your time, sneak around, and plan each move. There's a lot of freedom in how you want to tackle things. It's not just about shooting everything in sight. It's about choosing the right moments to strike, when to lay low, and how to work with your team for maximum impact. Speaking of the team, the game lets you go solo, but it really shines when you team up with others. You can play co-op with up to 4 players, which turns every mission into a tactical operation. You and your squad can plan your moves, coordinate attacks, or just mess around and see what happens. The game definitely pushes you to think about how you're going to work with your team, whether you're sneaking past enemies or taking out a base together. Customization is also a huge part of the experience. From weapons to gadgets to your character's skills, there's a ton of ways to make your loadout your own. Stray. Stray is one of those games you didn't know you needed until you're in the middle of it, getting lost in its world, and suddenly you're fully invested in the life of a stray cat. The vibe is very much feline meets futuristic city, and it pulls you in right from the start. You're not just playing a cat, you're living as one, jumping on ledges, squeezing through tight spaces, scratching things because why not, and meowing at anything and everything. It's the little things that make it so charming. You can nudge objects, pounce around, and just explore this world at your own pace. One of the coolest features is your cat's sidekick, B12, a drone that helps with, well, everything else. Think of it like your trusty sidekick on your adventure, translating robot languages, opening doors, and even helping you out in tight situations. It's kind of like having a wingman, but, in robot form. They really make a great team, and without B12, you might find yourself a little lost. But no worries, it's all part of the journey. You'll get plenty of chances to do some classic puzzle solving, like figuring out how to open a door or avoid getting swarmed by the creepy crawly creatures that are out to get you. It's a mix of agility and a little brain power, and it keeps you on your toes. The best part? You're a cat, and you get to do cat stuff, jumping, running, climbing, basically everything you've always wanted to do in a game without being limited by real-life cat behavior. There's something ridiculously cool about hitting the brakes on a sports car, flipping a switch, and suddenly you're soaring through the skies in a stunt plane, all without a single loading screen breaking the flow. That's the kind of madness that makes The Crew 2 stand out right from the first few minutes. This isn't your usual racing game where you stick to one kind of machine or one stretch of road. The Crew 2 throws open the entire US map and lets you roam wild across highways, rivers, and skies, swapping between cars, boats, and planes anytime you feel like shaking things up. One moment you're cutting through Miami's sunlit streets in a sleek hypercar. The next, you're splashing through the Mississippi in a powerboat. And before you know it, you've traded water for altitude and you're flipping loops above the Rocky Mountains. The best part about this game is how smooth and fun that switcheroo system feels. There's no slow menus or awkward waiting. You just snap your fingers, hit a button, and your vehicle pops into place, ready to go. That little feature alone turns exploring the map into an addictive loop because the more you bounce between vehicles, the more you want to push the world's limits and find new spots to mess around. Events in the game aren't just set up for one type of racer either. The variety is nuts. One day you'll be chasing a finish line through a twisting street circuit, and the next you're hammering an off-road buggy across the desert or carving perfect lines through air race checkpoints. Crash Bandicoot 4. It's like getting that nostalgia hit, but with a bunch of new tricks up its sleeve. The platforming is just as tight as ever. The levels are jam-packed with those classic obstacles, from tricky jumps to sneaky enemies, and there's a real sense of flow that keeps you going. The quantum masks are a game changer. Each one has its own power that completely alters the way you tackle challenges. It's like getting a new superpower with every level, and it makes every stage feel exciting and different. Whether you're flipping gravity or slowing down time, those masks really shake things up and keep you on your toes. You'll also be jumping between a few different characters, and it's not just Crash and Coco. The others each bring something unique to the table. Whether it's Cortex with his ray gun or Tawna's grappling hook, they all have their own little spin on the action, so it's not just the same old stuff repeated. It adds a bit of spice to the formula and makes each character's levels feel unique. What really keeps you hooked is how replayable everything is. If you're all about chasing those perfect runs, there's a lot of opportunities to go back and hit those extra goals, grab all the collectibles, and see how fast you can race through a level. It's the kind of game that encourages you to keep coming back for more, whether we're after a perfect time trial or hunting for every little gem. The way it all comes together is like this perfect blend of old school platforming charm with enough fresh ideas to keep you interested. Dragon's Dogma 2. It's not just another RPG to add to your backlog. This one's got some serious bite. If you're into exploration, thrilling combat, and a bit of weirdness mixed in, you're in for a treat. First off, the world is huge, like ridiculously huge. You're not just walking around the same few villages or caves. You've got lush forests, dry deserts, and everything in between. And yes, it all feels super alive with day-to-night transitions that actually matter. Things get way more intense when the sun goes down, so you're going to find yourself battling monsters under the eerie glow of the moon. Pretty cool stuff. Now let's talk about combat. This game really delivers when it comes to making you feel like an absolute badass. You're slicing through monsters with your sword, blasting them with magic, or even grabbing onto the backs of huge creatures and fighting them up close. And trust me, it never gets old. It's got that fast-paced, action-packed vibe that keeps you on your toes. And with multiple classes to choose from, there's always a new way to mess things up. Plus, if you're into customizing your playstyle, this game lets you experiment and figure out what feels best. But here's where it gets really fun, the pawn system. Imagine having a bunch of AI companions who are there to help you out, but also learn from their experiences. So if you've been tackling dragons or dealing with super creepy monsters, they pick up on it. Marvel's Spider-Man Remastered is the perfect way to swing into action and experience a whole new level of superhero excitement. Whether you're new to the world of Spider-Man or you're jumping back in, this remastered edition does an excellent job of refining everything that made the original so special. One of the things that really stands out is how seamless everything feels. From the moment you take control, you're thrust into a vibrant and bustling New York City, where every corner feels alive. The fluidity of swinging through the streets, navigating skyscrapers, and dodging traffic just feels so satisfying. There's something about the sense of freedom that comes with being Spider-Man that makes every little trip across the city a joy. You're not just getting from point A to point B, you're enjoying every second of the ride. Combat 2 has been tightened up in the remastered version. The web-slinging, wall-crawling, and acrobatic moves come together in a way that feels really natural. It's one of those games where you can get into a flow, chaining together punches, web shots, and takedowns almost like you're performing a dance. And when you throw in the variety of suits and upgrades, it keeps things fresh every time you face off against a new wave of enemies. And let's not forget about the co-op content. If you want even more action, there's DLC that introduces additional missions and new suits. Whether you're playing through the extra content or revisiting the main game, there's always something to keep you hooked. Final Fantasy VII Remake. This game knows exactly how to pull you into its world and keep you hooked for hours without even realizing it. One moment you're figuring out your next move, the next you've sunk deep into fights, upgrades, and all kinds of satisfying little systems that just flow together perfectly. It's the kind of game that isn't afraid to let players feel strong, but still toss in enough challenge to keep things exciting. Combat hits that perfect sweet spot between action and strategy. Swinging a sword or unloading a few shots feels great, but the real fun kicks in when you start mixing attacks, abilities, and materia setups. There's a nice rhythm to the way fights unfold, almost like a dance, where timing and choices really make all the difference. Swapping between characters mid-fight never gets old, especially when each one brings a different style to the table. One of the best things about this game is how much it rewards curiosity. Whether it's hunting for new gear, experimenting with different builds, or chasing down optional battles, there's always something to mess around with. Even small side activities can lead to some pretty cool surprises if you take the time to dive in. The pacing has a chill kind of vibe, giving room to slow down and just take everything in between the bigger moments. It never rushes the player, which makes the whole experience feel more personal. It's not just about charging from one objective to the next, but about enjoying the journey and seeing what's hiding around the next corner. The sound of tires screeching, the roar of engines, and the feeling of the track beneath you, it's all there. Racing games have always had a way of getting the adrenaline pumping, but Forza Motorsport takes that up a notch with some seriously advanced tech. The level of realism is off the charts, and it's not just about driving fast. It's about feeling the power of each car you take for a spin. Right from the start, you're thrown into a world where every race is a chance to fine-tune your skills, upgrade your car, and push the limits of what you can do on the track. The car selection is massive, offering over 500 cars with more than 800 performance upgrades. Whether you're into sleek speedsters or muscle-bound monsters, there's something for every kind of driver here, but it's not just about collecting cars. The way the game handles things like tire wear, weather changes, and even the way tracks evolve throughout a race is where Forza Motorsport really shines. Tracks aren't static. They change with the conditions, affecting how your car handles and making each lap feel different. Plus, with real-time ray tracing, you get an experience where everything, from the track to the tiniest detail on your car, feels incredibly lifelike. The career mode, known as the Builder's Cup, brings a solid solo experience. You get to take on advanced AI opponents that make every race feel like a challenge. Shadow of the Tomb Raider brings Lara Croft back for another action-packed adventure that's as fun as it is challenging. It's not just about swinging across ledges or taking down enemies, though there's plenty of that. It's also about exploration and getting into the groove of some seriously clever puzzle solving. Right from the start, the gameplay feels smooth, like it's designed to make you feel like an absolute pro. The climbing mechanics are tighter than ever, and the ability to stealthily sneak around enemies adds a fresh dynamic. Imagine crawling through the jungle, hiding in bushes, and using the environment to your advantage. If you love games that let you be sneaky or give you the option to go in guns blazing, this game has you covered. One of the coolest parts is the focus on stealth. There's something satisfying about taking down enemies without them even knowing you were there. Lara can hide in the shadows or blend into the environment. Whether it's using the environment to her advantage or silently taking out foes, the game really lets you feel like you're the ultimate adventurer in the most natural way possible. And then there are the tombs. The game is packed with them, and these aren't just little side activities either. Some of them will really make you think and challenge your puzzle-solving skills. You'll be twisting levers, finding secret paths, and discovering hidden areas that will make you feel like you're Indiana Jones. The tombs are designed to test your wit and reward your patience. They're a real highlight.